one of the elementary principals at Liberty Common School. Sandy Stolzfus is on the hotline. Sandy, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Jimmy. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for hopping on the program. You're not at Liberty Common Charter School. You're not having to close down early today because you have the old air conditioning there in your building.
We do. We have air conditioning. We did not even consider closing, and I know that our parents are grateful. Our students are excited and happy to be here, and so that will not be happening at any of the Liberty Common school campuses.
I'm just baffled. I just again, if you have an old school campus, I know sometimes retrofitting could be prohibitive and maybe hard to do. But are you, Sandy? You're an educator. Are you surprised people are still building school campuses anywhere, especially in Colorado, and don't have some kind of ventilation or air conditioning in that campus? I mean, some of these campuses are pretty new, and they're not putting that in. That just baffles the heck out of me.
Yeah, it is hard to believe. You know, one of the things that we even did at our high school, we had one section of our building up at the high school that had not yet been air conditioned. And so what we did, and partly just to make sure that we continue to consider the best air quality for our students after the pandemic, is added air conditioning with some of the funds that we received from the ESSER funds, which were to combat COVID.
Yeah, the ventilation, very, very important. It just baffles me that all the money that gets thrown at the districts, and again, we talk about ventilation, and how many parents knew that during the school year, the kids are sitting in there, unless it's heater moving, they're sitting in there with no airflow in the classroom, and that's the very thing that maybe COVID could have been the catalyst for some of these schools to put some kind of an airflow fan system or an air conditioning system in. The smart move on Liberty Commons' part, to say, you know what, if they say that moving air is going to be a beneficial thing in COVID and just kind of filtering air, you guys did the right thing. These other school districts didn't do anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are, I think one of the other things, Jimmy, I was thinking about this morning as I was preparing to come on was just the reality of students leaving school early after all the learning loss and time that kids have been out of school this year, to then, for things like this, have to then miss more. I'm so grateful for Liberty Common for the decisions that we're able to make at a very local level. I know our parents are grateful that our kids will be here until 3 o'clock, 3:30 today, learning and growing and not having to miss more school than they've missed already in the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. The kids have already missed. Help us understand, we talk about this on the program a lot. Almost 70% of third graders across Colorado can't do math at a third grade level according to testing. That's a lot because they've been locked out of school. Some of them have been locked out since kindergarten, so they really just haven't had that learning experience. What has Liberty Common in the elementary level, where you're at as a principal, what have they done to catch kids up for any loss that they had during COVID-19 the last couple of years? What have you done to make sure kids get back on track and aren't lagging behind?
First of all, fortunately, and I empathize and sympathize so much with the decisions that had to be made at such a big level. When we get to make decisions right here in our building, among 3 campuses now and a few administrators and a small parent-led board, we can make the best decisions for our kids. And so our kids didn't miss a lot of instructional time. Now, they did miss lots of quarantines. We didn't have to shut down. As far as math and learning loss, we were able to use some of the funds that I mentioned earlier that were, taxpayer-subsidized funds that were sent to us to do tutoring. We have a fantastic academic support team, so students who are struggling across, any subjects are able to get the support they need. But I would say that we honestly didn't experience the loss for our students that many did see across certainly the district and the nation, the world. It was heartbreaking.
The voice of Sandy Stolzfus, she's an elementary principal for Liberty Common School. They don't have to shut down early today. They're going to keep the kids in the classroom doing some excellent academic work with them because guess what? They have air conditioning, and they've thought this through. And even, it's always amazing to see how the public schools compare to to the public charter school of Liberty Common, and all the kids are going to stay in class today, and they're going to get a full day of learning, and that's very good. I also understand, Sandy, that Liberty Commons decided you're going to beat the heat. If the kids are a little hot out there, you're going to hand out popsicles this week.
Well, we are, and I'm looking at an email right now that I wanted to mention, if you didn't bring it up, that Kathleen Kearney, our assistant principal at the high school, sent us yesterday, and she said, I just had 2 students come in to ask me if we could pass out popsicles on Thursdays to students since A, it will be so hot that PSD shuts down schools, and B, we had the financial foresight and common sense to install AC, and C, Liberty students don't need to miss 4 hours of school and can and should instead celebrate here with their friends with a cold treat. Well. So our student leaders are leading the charge that instead of asking to shut down school, they want to have popsicles.
Well, everybody raise a popsicle today and tomorrow, cool off in the heat. And when you have that popsicle, realize that there's some schools, charter schools like Liberty Common, making good decisions with money and having foresight to get air conditioning in. And there's other schools that are going to just send the kids home, send on a little Johnny, head on home. We don't have any air conditioning. They should be embarrassed, in my opinion, in some of these school districts that they're not prepared for this kind of heat. And academics seem to come secondary once again in the public school system. Sandy Stolzfus, enjoy your popsicle. I hope everybody across Colorado will raise up a popsicle in the honor of Liberty Common the next couple of days, because they're staying in school, kids. Hey, Pooter, how'd the rest of those schools faring out there? Yeah, I guess not real well. You kids got to take their popsicles home there. I got to run 600 KCOL.